जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सत अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य बीबीटी फाउंडर आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. I think we have 39 today, no? Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Vidura's Talks with Maitreya. And today we have text 39. Deva Uchuhu. Namamate Deva Padarvindam Prapannatapopasamattapatram Yanmulaketa Yatayo Anjasoru Samsara Dukkham Bahir Uttakshipanti. Uttakshipanti. Deva Uchuhu. Namamate Deva Padarvindam Prapannatapo Pasamatapatram Yanmulaketa Yatayo Anjasoru Samsara Dukkham Bahir Uttakshipanti. Deva Uchuhu. Namamate Deva Padarvindam Prapannatapo Pasamatapatram Yanmulaketa Yatayo Anjasoru Samsara Dukkham Bahir Uttakshipanti. Please chant. Deva Uchuhu. Namamate Deva Padarvindam Deva Uchu. Devauchu Namamate Deva Padarvindam Emulaketayatayo Anjasuru Samsara Dukham. Mataji, please. Devauchu Namamate Deva Padarvindam Prapannatapo Pasmat Patram Yanmulaketaya Yatayo Anjasoru Samsara Dukham Bahirutkshipanti. Synonyms. Deva Uchu. The demigod said, Namama, we offer our respectful obeisances. Te, your. Deva, O Lord. Padarvindam, lotus feet. Prapanna, surrendered. Tapa, distress. Upasama, suppresses. Atapatram, umbrella. Yatmulaketa, shelter of the lotus feet. Yataya, great sages. Anjasa, totally. Uru, great. Samsara Dukkham, miseries of material existence. Bahi, out. Uttakshipanti, forcibly throw. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The demigod said, O Lord, your lotus feet are like an umbrella for the surrendered souls, protecting them from all the miseries of material existence. All the sages under that shelter throw off all material miseries. We therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. Purport. There are many sages and saints who engage in trying to conquer rebirth and all other material miseries. But of all of them, those who take shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord can completely throw off all such miseries without difficulty. Others who are engaged in transcendental activities in different ways cannot do so. For them, it is very difficult. They may artificially think of becoming liberated without accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, but that is not possible. One is sure to fall again to material existence from such false liberation, even though one may have undergone severe penances and austerities. This is the opinion of the demigods, who are not only well versed in Vedic knowledge, but are also seers of the past, present, and future. The opinions of the demigods are valuable because the demigods are authorized to hold positions in the affairs of universal management. They are appointed by the Lord as his confidential servants. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhayasya kripasindhubhya cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. I seek blessings of all my superiors. We hear now the prayers of the demigods, and actually there are so many beautiful prayers about worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord and about hearing about the pastimes of the Lord. And it's amazing how they have given so many beautiful descriptions in all these prayers. There's like a number of verses that will follow after this verse where they are saying so many different prayers. So this is just the beginning verse, but we can see how they are starting. Like those who do deity worship, they know how you look at the deity starting with the lotus feet, and then gradually you raise your vision up towards the face. So here the demigods in the perfect standard, they are starting by remembering the lotus feet of the Lord and actually glorifying those devotees, those great sages who are able to constantly meditate on these lotus feet. Now, one may wonder what's such a big deal about remembering the lotus feet of the Lord. So we will hear further how just by remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, just like in the translation here it says, the sages, they completely throw off all the material miseries. How we can understand this? So we can remember the different footmarks on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And I won't be going through all of them, but just a few of them, just to give us a little hint of what it means to meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord. So it says, those who want to know more, it's given in the 10th canto actually, all the different marks. It's in, I looked it up just so. It's in chapter 30, text 25 gives all the different marks and what they do, what's their function. And that's for the footmarks of Lord Krishna. And then if you go to text 28, there it gives the footmarks on the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So on the right foot of the Lord, there is a mark of a disc, and it's mentioned that disc, what it does, it destroys all the 6 kinds of enemies of the devotees. Now we have been hearing a lot about these 6 enemies. Can anyone help me remember what are these 6 enemies of devotees? Yes, sir. Yeah. So these are the 6 enemies of the devotees, actual enemies. Um, they say you cannot win the battle if you don't know who are your enemies and where are they placed. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually even gives places where we can find these enemies, as given in chapter 3. So the disc, that's what it does. Just by remembering this disc, we can, take so much strength that we are protected by this disc of the Lord. Same way, there is the thunderbolt. It actually, on the same right foot, there is the mark of the thunderbolt. And what it does is it destroys. What a thunderbolt does, it can like break a mountain in pieces very easily. So it says it can destroy all the past sins of the devotees who remember this very easily. We can see from our own example how we may have so many addictions before coming to devotional service. But taking to devotional service, it became so easy to give them up. But before that, we may have tried so many different ways, but it may not have been so effective in helping us become completely free from those addictions. So just from a little personal example, we can understand this point very easily. So imagine how much more powerful it is to actually meditate on all these different aspects of the Lord. And one pastime that actually came to my mind is which kind of shows how actually devotees, the kind of devotees that the demigods are talking about here, like fully surrendered devotees, how they can actually see all these things. We can remember the example of Akrura when he went to Vrindavan. What was the first thing he did when he approached Vrindavan? Just on the outskirts, he could actually see the footmarks of the Lord in the sand, in the dirt of Vrindavan. And just by seeing that, he became so ecstatic. He actually got down from the chariot he was driving, and he started rolling in the dirt there. And an ordinary person would think, what's going on with this person? Is he mad or what? Like, why are you lying down like a crazy person here? So you can see how the devotees who are in proper consciousness, they actually have access to all these things. They can see these things happening even these days. I remember first time after meeting the devotees, I went to Vrindavan. I was reading this pastime, hearing from devotees, when you go to Vrindavan, you should, think how Akrura was meditating on approaching Vrindavan. So I couldn't see the footmarks, but just hearing, I was like, I'm sure they are still there. I don't see it. It's okay. I can still roll in the dirt. It was like, still inspiring. And of course, it was fun also in one way for first time going to Vrindavan. It's really interesting. But you can see how the devotees, they have access to all these things. And if we just remember those devotees or just hear about their experiences, then gradually our remembrance can become awakened also. That's the whole point of hearing these pastimes. It's mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, actually. Rupa Goswami, he gives the whole sequence, like Shravane Parikshid. So he gives, in this verse, he gives how different devotees, they attain perfection by practicing only like one aspect of the 9 different processes of devotional service. Parikshit Maharaj, we know he attained perfection just by hearing Bhagavatam. and Sukdev Goswami by speaking Bhagavatam. So like that, there are these 9 different processes of devotional service. Actually, Prahlad Maharaj, he tells these to Hiranyakashipu. Smaranam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Kirtanam Vishnu, Archanam Pada Sevanam. So, Pada Sevanam. Here we are talking about the lotus feet. So, can anyone help me remember who is the personality who is related to attaining perfection by Pada Sevanam, worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord? Lakshmi Devi, yeah. Gauranga Prem Prabhu, he does deity worship, so he knows. Lakshmi Devi. So we know Lakshmi Devi is always worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. So we can see people in general, they expect to receive the mercy of Lakshmi Devi, but just in the form of getting some material opulence. But imagine how much more can Lakshmi Devi award if someone is more intelligent to ask her for devotional service. We know there are like 4 major sampradayas following the different the bhakti practice. One of them comes from Lakshmi Devi actually. So we know the devotees in South India, the Sri Vaishnavas, that's the lineage they follow actually, coming from Lakshmi Devi. So we are part of the Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. We are following in the footsteps of Lord Brahma. So you can see like then there is the Rudra Sampradaya coming from Lord Shiva. So we can see these demigods, they are not ordinary living entities. Of course, Lakshmi Devi is the wife of the Lord himself. But then these demigods, they are actually empowered servants of the Lord. And when they are speaking prayers like this, it has a lot of power, lot of potency. We can see Lord Brahma, he can actually directly communicate with the Lord. When all the demigods, they get into some difficulty, some danger, they go to Lord Brahma. And then Lord Brahma, he meditates and prays to the Lord, and then he gets some communication happening there. So that's how there is a whole system, how the whole creation is working. It's, it's very impractical to accept how the scientists, they explain that there is no higher system beyond whatever their understanding is. But we can see like there are personalities who have these personal experiences. Like Akrura, when he approached, he could actually see all these feet marks, and he got these ecstatic symptoms just by seeing those lotus feet. There are many other examples, even Prahlad, talking about throwing off all these material miseries. We can remember how many difficulties Prahlad was put through. I mean, I don't know any other devotee who was like threatened by his own father to be killed, and they even tried so many different ways to kill him, but he didn't give up devotional service. Like, how many people can remain fixed in devotional service? This is showing actually Prahlad, when he was asked by Nrsimhadev that you can ask me any kind of benediction you want. And what did Prahlad say? Come on, Lord, stop alluring me with all these benedictions. Just consider my background. I'm born in a demoniac family. I'm naturally attracted to these kind of allurements. So don't distract me by these alluring offers. But at the same time, he reminded Lord Nrsimhadev, you brought me to show pure devotional service. So let's talk about that, And he actually, what he begged was that you engage me in the service of your pure devotee. He actually, there is a beautiful prayer. He says that how can I forget my spiritual master, Narada Muni, who saved me from all this? So I have to be engaged in his service. He didn't even ask to be directly engaged in service to Lord Nrsimhadev. He actually begged that please keep me engaged in service of your pure devotee. So these are the kind of devotees these demigods are talking about. But what's the other side? In the purport, Srila Prabhupada is hinting actually this verse from the 10th canto, chapter 2, that's text 32, Ye Anne Arvinda Aksha. So there are, in text 31, it talks about pure devotees who are meditating on the lotus feet, engaged in devotion service. And then in text 32, it talks about these devotees, the other kinds of transcendentalists who don't engage in devotional service but who follow many other kind of transcendental practices. And there Srila Prabhupada is actually explaining in the purport that these kind of people, they cannot become free from these kind of miseries, because what will happen sooner or later, they will get distracted from that practice, because there is no pleasure coming from that practice. It's so difficult to do. So they cannot be fulfilled, they cannot be satisfied. So they have to be distracted. And then, but for devotees, because they are always in connection with the Lord, they are remembering these beautiful pastimes, hearing about the pastimes, and more important, they are actually offering service. When they are actually offering active service, then they are getting these realizations. They are getting to feel the presence of the Lord. But what is the actual misery for the devotees? Actually, it's the separation from the Lord. We know example of Lord Chaitanya. He was always exhibiting this mood of feeling separation from the Lord. And he actually said this beautiful prayer where he says, Mam janmani janmanishware bhaktir ahetuki tvai. He only was praying for unalloyed devotional service, not only in that life, life after life. How many of us actually think, I want to continue doing service life after life? So it's not like a one-time offer or something you do for some time and then you move on to something else. It's an eternal occupation. In the first canto itself, it says, Dharmasya hi apvargasya kamo labhaya hi smrita. So dharma, it's not performed for any kind of material gain. It's actually performed for pleasure of the Lord. And it's an eternal occupation. It's not like a temporary occupation. But one who is engaged in such occupation, they are not doing it for getting some material gain. It's actually done out of love for the Lord, to serve the Lord. Because those devotees, they are getting so much pleasure just by performing those activities. So they are able to carry on because they are being fulfilled just by performing those activities, and they don't desire anything else. I'll just stop with this one beautiful verse which talks about how the devotees actually they don't even desire liberation, because all these other kind of transcendentalists, they actually want to become free from this cycle of samsara, life cycle of birth and death. They want to become liberated. But the devotees, they do not even want liberation. This verse in the 6th canto, Narayana para sarve na kutaschana bibyati swarga apvarga narkesva api tulyartha darshina. So these devotees, they are not even desiring any kind of heavenly pleasures or anything from the Lord. They are actually, they don't care what kind of situation they are in. They want to perform devotional service wherever they are. The place, circumstances, it doesn't matter. So we can take these words, and there is so much more that can be said, but we can, go back. This could be our homework. We can go back and look at these verses and read all these different meanings of these footprints, what they do, and also all the further verses to get a little bit more from the classes that are gonna come. We can read all these prayers, so that way it can become like a beautiful meditation for us. And we can even see how the demigods, the last point is that devotees, they are respectful to all kinds of living beings. What to talk about demigods? Demigods are actually, like here mentioned, they are assisting the Lord in carrying out all the management of the creation. So a devotee is even more respectful to the demigods, but they respect them for their position. They don't see them as the Supreme Lord. That's another thing a devotee knows. They know the position of these demigods, and they also know the position of the Lord. And so therefore, they have all respect for the demigods, but their ultimate worshipable Lord is Krishna. That's who they meditate on. We can even remember this pastime when the pure devotees of Vrindavan, the gopis, they were passing through the forest looking for Krishna. They met Narayan on the way, and it was actually Krishna who became Narayan, and he was so they saw him, and they were like, they offered respects, and then they asked him, "Oh, did you see Krishna going this way?" And then they moved on. So this is the topmost, where we see the most exalted devotees of the Lord. Even to Narayan, they offer respect, and they are like seeking Krishna. So this is what we are getting through this practice of bhakti, like the topmost. But we may not be there consciously, but following such devotees, we can gradually get there. That's the whole point. The bhakti, it's cultivation. So we are cultivating this consciousness of pure devotional service. That's our aspiration. And just by performing these activities and hearing about all these exalted devotees, we can also get there. Lord Krishna, he personally guarantees this. We know this famous instructional verse of Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharma Priteja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. So these devotees, by meditating on the lotus feet, that's what they are doing. They are engaging in just complete meditation on the Lord. They've given up all other kind of dharmas, and they are just focusing on pure devotional service. So that's what we are supposed to be doing, and we are trying to do, and hopefully many of us are doing it already, but some of us, we still have to do some work to get there. Just the last point is about we can remember the characteristics of devotional service, of characteristics, different characteristics. So there are 6 main characteristics that are described about pure devotional service, and one of them is Kleshagni. This verse is talking about becoming free from all the miseries. So all the kleshas, that's the Sanskrit word for all these miseries. So one of the characteristics of devotional service is it removes all kinds of miseries in the life of a devotee. But before that, there is the devotional service is subhada. It's all auspicious. It's so auspicious that it brings all good fortune to the devotees. And we can see in our own examples, we can see how we have become so fortunate. You see, I actually met one nice young man yesterday. We were in a parking lot at Target, and this person, I saw him sitting in his car, walking around. I noticed him. I was like, looks like a really nice person. I should talk to him. And I was a little hesitant at start, but then I saw him. He was sitting there for quite some time, and he looked like healthy. And there is LA Fitness nearby, and I went up to him. I was like, "Hey, do you work out here?" And he said, "Yeah, actually, I'm going to go to work out in a few minutes." And I was like, "You know what? We are meeting all the nice people here and sharing these ancient wisdom books from India." And I asked him, "Have you heard of meditation?" He was like, "I meditate every day." Actually, I'm struggling with meditation. And he said, "My friend encourages me." And he told me that he was like, he had so many addictions. He was with Alcohol Anonymous. And as part of that, they do different kinds of meditations. But he said, like, I can't really carry on. So I've been looking I asked him, some people follow different apps for meditation. And so some people do like different breathing exercises. So I asked him, "What do you do actually?" And he said, "Oh, I just do what we were taught as part of our program. But I want to learn more." And I was like, "We are looking for people who want to learn more. So here you go." And he said, "I actually do like to read books." So he took like a bunch of books and gave a nice donation. And then he was like, "I would like to come and learn. Like, do you have a place where I can come?" I was like, "Man, yeah, like you are really amazing. You're making my day by saying all these things." So this is another thing, like we can see there are people, they have tried so many different things, but they are still confused. There's no clarity. And I can say this even for myself, like I had looked into different kinds of yoga practices, meditations, and I was like, I couldn't have a clear understanding unless I came to Bhagavad Gita. So it's so important that meeting these people, it helps me realize actually the beauty of all these practices and its benefits that we are experiencing, but many times we are not fully aware of these things. So personally, like I develop more appreciation when I meet people like this, because they are helping me understand what we have, the benefits of what we have, because we have like so much clarity coming from all these great devotees. But we can also, our acharyas, they also want us to share this with others. So that's another way that we can develop, we can help others and we can help ourselves, because it does help develop a lot of realizations. So we can remember these beautiful qualities of devotional service, and we can take a lot of inspiration and try to increase our service. So there are many points I mentioned, but it's already time, so I guess we can stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.